name's Killian Mood, and this is Allie Trowbridge. We work for the Not For Sale campaign, an organization that's working to combat human trafficking. You guys had the experience this morning, so I'm sure you're somewhat familiar with the issue of human trafficking. Do you guys have any other background information? Some of the movies, Taken, Slumdog Millionaire, a little bit informative about the issue at least. It's a heavy issue. It's a serious issue. We're going to lay it a little bit on your hearts. But the power of the campaign, the power of the Not For Sale movement, is that we're going to give you guys tangible action steps that you can take today and that you can take with you to combat this issue. To re-abolish slavery, everybody has to contribute. It's everybody's responsibility. For it to happen, for it to occur in our lifetime, we all need to engage it. And we're not asking you to give up a year of your life, 5 years of your life. If you want to do that, let us know, because we'd love to have you. But we're asking you to engage in this issue just through the simple things that you already do. Just to give you a definition of what human trafficking is the movement and or transportation of an individual within or across boundaries by force, fraud, or deception for the purpose of exploiting them economically. I had to memorize that. It's a long, wordy definition. I don't like to use it a lot. Common terms, what I'm talking about, does that person have the ability to walk away from the situation that they're in? Do they have control over their own lives, or is somebody else controlling them? Even if it means they're leaving and going into a worse situation, can they physically leave the situation that they're in? What is the level of exploitation? What is the level of control? So what are the forms of human trafficking that we see throughout the United States, throughout the world? Most common inside the United States, sex trafficking, child prostitution as it's sometimes called. Any child that's found in being exploited sexually for commercial use is seen as a human trafficking victim. Throughout the world, you also see sexual exploitation of women and children, oftentimes in Southeast Asia. You see child soldiers in Uganda, throughout Africa. You see children and women and men forced to work in migrant fields, in agricultural fields, in brick kilns, in production lines. So that is what we're talking about. The newest form of human trafficking that's on the rise is organ harvesting, where people are bought and sold not for who they are, not for what they can do, but for actually their body parts. That's a reality issue we're talking about. It's a heavy issue. But we gave you guys takeaway cards, and we'll talk about later. We want to empower you so that you know that there are things that you can do today to combat this issue of modern day slavery.
Spin me round again and rub my eyes. This can't be happening when busy streets are messed with people would stop to hold their heads heavy. Hide and seek, chains and sewing machine. All those years, they were here first. Oily marks appear on walls where pleasure moments hung before the takeover, the sweeping insane. what you say. That you only meant well, well, 'cause you did what you say.
27 million people in our world, our modern world today, are in slavery. That's more than at any other point in human history. You know, when I tell people what I do for a living and say, you know, it's cocktail party, oh, what do you do? Oh, I'm anti-human trafficking. Total conversation killer. Okay? I think I've lost some friends over it. But when people do know what I'm talking about, their reaction is usually like, oh, like in Africa, or oh, in Southeast Asia. And I say yes, and right here, in the United States, in our backyard, in our cities, in our towns, in our rural suburbs. 200,000 people are estimated to be in bondage, in physical slavery in our country. And the CIA estimates that up to 17,500 are being trafficked into our borders every year. The human trafficking industry is the fastest growing criminal industry in our world today. So you have illicit trade in drugs, illicit trade in arms, and then illicit trade in people. So last year, slave traders made $32 billion. To give you guys a little bit of a picture of how much that is, that's more than Nike, Google, and Starbucks made combined. That's the world that we live in today. That's the reality of this industry. And it happens in dark places. We think, why do we not see it? But it's because it's something that we don't naturally want to look at or engage in. We see those massage parlors with the bright blue lights all lit up, and we think, well, maybe those women want to be there. Maybe they don't have a better option. Maybe that, they want to be in the sex industry. Or maybe, I'm sure those skilled workers want to be doing that. I'm sure whatever it is, however we justify it, and we allow it to continue on in darkness. I'm going to give you guys one more picture of how profitable it is. This is David Batstone, our founder, just talking about the criminal side of the industry.
Let's say you buy 3 girls for $1,000, and you deploy them on the streets of Chicago or New York or Los Angeles. Over a period of a year, you are likely to make $240,000 off of those 3 girls. Tax-free, of course. Just using them 10 to 15 times a night, turning tricks. Every day, of course, there's no off days. Imagine the profitability of that. Now, let's say after 3 years, $240,000 a year, then one of them gets AIDS, another one just looks spent, and she's just been, she's not attractive anymore to the Johns. You throw them away.
How many of you guys